All right, we are, I think we're on the record. Does it say on the record for you? It says recording. Awesome. I know now we have to be good now because it's like permanent. It's on our permanent record.
I have a blab secret.
What's your blab secret?
Okay, so there was a blab town hall earlier today with the fabulous Brittany Metzner, and there's a competition. And there's a hashtag, which I'm trying to, the hashtag is Blab Ugly Mug. I believe that's correct, Blab Ugly Mug. And the competition is very simple. You have to capture screenshots of anyone from Team Blab, but you have to get their silliest or their ugliest face. And the ugliest wins a mug from Team Blab. And that's
I want that mug.
Yeah. So you want to get them doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right. And then take a screenshot.
And then take a screenshot. And that's the secret competition. So now you know.
There you go. I love that. All right. So we are promoting LinkedIn advice. Let's start giving some. Okay. So what is your absolute favorite LinkedIn tip? If someone said, Andy, we're going to interview you for Fortune magazine, your number one tip, what is it?
Okay, so I go back to my roots. I would say write an authentic and powerful summary that is actually trying to do something for you.
So what does that look like?
What's that?
What does that summary look like?
Well, it's got to be incredibly well written. It's got to be brief, ideally less than 250 words. It's got to have a call to action. And it's got to be something that at the end of the day makes someone react or ideally take action. That's what it looks like.
I love that. So I have my own little thing on summary. Should I share mine?
Absolutely.
So I think your summary should not be a resume. It should be a resource. So remember, I'm coming from a sales perspective. You're coming from the branding perspective.
Yeah.
Sales perspective, I want to be a resource to my clients, right? To my prospects. I want to offer something that actually matters. So I have my summary 3 sets. So number 1, it gives tips or advice, almost like a blog post. Number 2, quickly, very short, in a very short way, explain how you can help them. And number 3, it's a call to action. Let's have a phone call. That's how I break down my summaries.
That's not very far away from what I was saying. I totally agree with that, and I get where you're coming from. There are 3 people in the room. Who's the third person? We should be able to know who the third person is.
It is Aranda. She's a marketer blogger. Come join us.
You can see that. You can see that as the host.
Yeah, no, you can too. So go at the top, and you can see the little faces, and just hover over Aranda.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. And I can go follow her on Twitter.
I'm already following her.
I am following her on Twitter.
Me too. Now we've got Todd. I'm following him as well. Todd is
awesome.
In the room. Hey, Todd.
Hi, Todd. I'm going to follow you. I think, I've got Gold Star Referral Clubs. Todd, hop on. Tell us what Gold Star Referral Clubs is. And ask us any LinkedIn question you have about how to brand or grow your business. All right. Hello, Todd. And now that you've...
Miranda, come on.
Hi, Todd. Now you tweet out that you've joined, and then your buddies can come see you. So tell a little bird, and then tell us a little bit about Gold Star Club.
Sorry, trying to get the mic and all this stuff. I haven't been on today, so I have to fluff my hair.
I'm in my beach clothes, so don't worry.
Miranda, come join us. Miranda, get in here.
Some people just like to watch. That's fine. So Todd, tell us a little bit about what is Gold Star Clubs?
We are a nationwide business networking and referral marketing company, and we get together on a weekly basis to get to know everybody, like each other, and trust each other to be able to make good quality referrals to each other.
So I love that. So your entire, if you don't mind me, this is not an insult, it's like a BNI?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So is it just a local thing, or is it something you're trying to?
No, we're a national company.
You are awesome.
We're right now in 16 states and expanding. My hope is every week.
Oh, wow. So tell me the background about the club, and then ask Andy or myself any questions you might have regarding how to use LinkedIn to make that work for you.
Well, I absolutely love LinkedIn, which is why I got on the Blab and thought, well, gosh, if these guys have a tip or a technique I could borrow, steal, sneak, I just wanted to make sure that I get everything. I've worked very hard on my profile on LinkedIn, and you know, we do a lot of talking. I have a couple of groups. I manage a really good group that's local to Tulsa, which is where we're headquartered. And so I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I like to post there, and I really like to interact. I've got a couple of new folks that are starting groups for us that I met through LinkedIn, which is kind of neat.
So that's great. So how many people are in a group?
Well, it depends. Our sweet spot is right around 22 to 25. Most of our clubs are in the process of growing to that number. We're kind of, I don't want to say we're similar to BNI, but both my wife and I were in BNI for a long time. But they are a franchise model and we're not, and I'm not speaking ill about them. They're a good group, good outfit. But the way they manage is a little bit different from us. I was told by a buddy of mine in New York, he says, Todd, he goes, you're not similar to BNI. He goes, you're complementary. And he goes, I say that because you're where people go after they've been to BNI. So our meetings are shorter. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, do you feel like you're on a much higher level of referrals than a typical BNI group?
I'd like to say yes. But I'm not absolutely in the middle of every single group we have across the country. So I should say, in Tulsa, it seems to me that we are doing better than most of their groups. But again, we're not a direct comparison. So my goal is that our groups are doing wonderfully. Part of my job is to help members and the people that have started groups, we call them a director, in the field, and to do better, to help their members do better, to get more business for them. That's the key for what we do. And because we're not a franchise model, we don't sell large portions of the country for somebody to come in and say, well, great, now let me go and do my thing. All of our clubs around the country are tied to us.
That's great.
So it's a whole lot more personal interaction.
Todd, let me ask you a question. Todd, what do you typically, what does a typical day on LinkedIn look for you? And I want to ask
Did you see the wife sneak by? She said, no, wait, you're talking live. I don't want to be there. So anyway, thanks, honey.
And secondly, what is it that you like about LinkedIn? So what do you do typically during the day, and what do you like?
Well, my typical day is after I have weeded through a few emails, I'm on LinkedIn. Again, I manage this one group that's the largest networking type organization group on LinkedIn for the Tulsa area. We're about 80, I want to say 8,200, but I could be a little bit over with that. But it's a good group. The owner of the group, we're friends with, and we're friends with him. We joined, and we are very active on it. I post probably, I have a series of postings I set up where, of course, Buffer is great, or Hootsuite, to continually post for me. So I'm posting a lot, which is, I think, a lot of times people share my posts, and they're able to, then I bumped into a lady in New Mexico, which she started a group, really great lady. She was involved with those other guys before. Again, I'm not going to speak ill of them, but the way we do it with shorter meetings, we have more fun. We have a lot less rules, and we have some really nice options for the people that want to come in instead of having to buy a membership. And many groups around the country do this. They want you to buy a year or two up front when you kind of sort of don't really understand what you're supposed to be doing. And you pay all your money, and then you find out it doesn't work for you. We have a monthly option where there's no contract involved. And so we did that, and we started in 2007 and have been continually growing. We're not as large as we'd like, but in 2009, we were running my real estate company, and my wife came to me and batted her eyes and said, honey, I need some help running Gold Star. And if it's not going to be you, I've got to hire somebody. And we've been working together pretty much for 21 years.
can I ask you one more question, and then I have some ideas for you?
Absolutely.
Is it one person per industry? Like what,
It is absolutely industry exclusive, huh?
Okay, so really quick. So you have a list of industries I would assume the group is looking to fill, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the greatest things that that you can do as a group is go look, use your searches to identify who in the group knows people that you're looking to bring into the group. So for example, Joan is in your group and you know that you're looking for a CPA for the group. You go into Joan's connections. If you're in her profile, you click on the 500, you go down to her connections, you click on the magnifying glass and you put in CPA. And so you'll get a list of all of Joan's CPAs. You can then click on advanced search and drill down by 10 miles so you can get a CPA local to you. So now Joan may have 7 CPAs, and then you look through there and find a couple of them seem to be small or entrepreneurial that might be good for the group. And you go to Joan and say, Joan, here are the 3 CPAs that you know that we think would be great for this group. Can you invite them to the next meeting?
That is an awesome idea of using our members to actually invite for us, or to at least give them the heads up. Because what I do in groups here in local market, I'll ask the members, I say, if you know somebody that should be here or that you've invited that didn't come, I ask them for a name and phone number and maybe a follow-up email address. I'll call them and invite them to come for that member. So, hey, John, Keith says that you're awesome and I'd love to meet you in person. Would you be okay coming to breakfast or lunch? Where do you want to go? And I've been very successful with that. I have a pretty good voice on the phone, and people say, well, sure, I'll come. So.
Yeah, but this makes it so easy, because a lot of times you'll say, hey, Jane, how many CPAs do you know? She'll like, I don't know.
That's a great point, because they can be connected and not know them. Unfortunately, a lot of people on LinkedIn, they don't go to the effort to actually get to know the people that ask to connect. And I'm a little bit of an old school guy. I want to know the people. And if they've just clicked the button on LinkedIn, let me connect with Todd, or LinkedIn makes a suggestion, here's people you might want to connect with, and you send that generic, I'd like to add you to my personal connections.
I can tell you something bad though. With the new messaging, you have to dig deep to actually see the message. Nobody's gonna even see them anymore. If you go to mail, your mail, and then look at invitations, and then you just go over to where you would accept there's a pull down arrow. One doesn't have that anymore. So they're rolling. I don't have it yet, but a lot of people have the new email system, and it's more like text messaging. So the invitation piece is gone. The archive piece is gone. The only way you're going to get to your invitations is when you hover over the new little person and click see all. And then you have to hover over the message to actually read the message. It's ugly.
Well, Brianne, I just went to my LinkedIn while you were saying that, and I can go to my invitations and pull down, and it says don't reply yet, and I click the button, and it shows me the email they sent me. And it's usually the generic, and I usually answer them and say, gosh, was there something on my profile that you were interested in learning more about, something that could benefit your life or your business?
Yeah, that's great. That's actually going to change, though, in the next week or so. You're going to see.
Don't say that. I love that feature.
Yeah, I know. I still have the one you have, but I've seen now the new videos. Vivica von Rosen, actually, she doesn't have it yet either, but her assistant did. She did a great video on what it's going to look like. I mean, you can get through everything. It's just a couple more steps. But I will tell you, I love the idea of reply, don't accept yet. And I'm really hoping that that's still there, because there are a lot of times where I'm not sure I want to connect with someone, but I also don't want to ignore them.
I've got my fingers crossed for it.
Yeah.
Hey Todd, can I ask you about the LinkedIn group? Are you a manager or owner?
I own a couple of groups on LinkedIn, and I also am the manager of one of the big group in Tulsa.
Got it. And what's the engagement like in the big one? I think you mentioned the 8200.
I could almost tell you, but I'll stay here for a minute. I'll jump out of here in a second and give somebody else a seat.
There's a seat open if someone wants to jump in. Love to have you guys. Who else?
Yeah, I saw Aranda had to go, so
Diana Richardson can join in if she'd like.
Diana, please do join us. It's Sven. Yeah, I was asking about the engagement level because typically I run a bunch of groups, and typically, you know, the ratio, or rather the engagement level, is usually 99% are lurking.
I would agree with that. We are a relatively active group for some other groups that I've been on and seen, because people do engage, and they some of my welcome letters that go out say, please tell us about you so we get to know you a little better, because that's the only way real business gets done. Right. And I'm very active on there, and I do have a couple people that follow me, and so I typically am always commenting or making a suggestion or complimenting them for posting something on the site. And after I do that, it seems that I'm not connected to everybody in the group, of course, because that just gets silly. But it does seem that people read my post, and then, you know, if it's just even a compliment, they go, well, Todd likes this guy. Or if I have a conversation with them as they come, because, sorry, we want to know about people, so they don't have a picture, or if they don't have their profile filled out or something like that, I don't accept them, and I send them a nice note to say, hey, by the way, can you put some stuff up there in a photo?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, you do more than I do. I just don't accept them if they don't have a photo or if they have an incomplete profile. But you know, that's another way of doing it. Do you have an intro discussion thread? So somewhere where new members can go to say a little about themselves?
It's not necessarily a thread. It's more of a in the welcome letter that I send when they pass my scrutiny. I ask them, it says, please introduce yourself, start yourself a thread, but we don't have an introduction thread. I find them pretty much irritating. And if you do that, I don't know, Andy, but only because sometimes you get lost in the quagmire of everybody commenting about what they do, and you really don't see who the person is. So I would prefer, and I've asked them to go on, just tell us a little bit about you. And of course, I'm watching for it because I just sent the acceptance email. So typically within a day or two, they get around to doing that, and I'll go in and like it and share it and make a nice comment.
So you have individual discussions for people to introduce themselves, and then got it. Yeah, that the way that LinkedIn have organized discussions, not just in groups but throughout the platform, is an issue because, of course, it gets lost, doesn't it, in the sea. You know, you're continually scrolling, and even the popular choice or the recent, that doesn't really help. That's not a solution. Do you what was I going to ask you? I just lost my train of thought. Do you use subgroups at all? I'm
part of a group that's owned here in Tulsa that I am in both the main group and the subgroup, but I haven't looked into using a subgroup, although I've got the training for the LinkedIn manager, owner, whatever, and I follow that pretty closely, but I haven't delved into what a subgroup or how it probably could. I just don't know enough about it to be able to say, gosh, I think this would be really help my
right. So here's the deal with subgroups. What a lot of people don't realize about subgroups is that this one feature, which could well be very, very, very important, is that it's an opportunity for you to segment that main group into up to 20 mini groups. And the key thing about those subgroups is that any discussion, anything that goes on in those subgroups is completely private within that group. So the use case example could be, you want to say, okay, these are paying, or whatever, however you want to classify them. These are important folks. We want to give them something else. And the point is, they're already in the main group, but you're now letting them into this subgroup, and you're saying, here's what we're going to do for you, or here's what we're going to do here. So I think it's a very powerful use case for subgroups, and a lot of people don't know that, or don't use them to that, or to use that benefit.
What is the button that I click to start a subgroup, or is there there's got to be some place I do that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done it, but it's when you go into the managing settings, the group management dashboard. You'll see it there if you look around.
I have a link. I'll send you a link.
I see it. It's all the way at the bottom of the management page. Sorry, guys, I slipped off to
Mr. Robert Stern in the house. Robert, get your
Robert
open right now. right now, Mr. Stern.
Okay, so can I just offer one more thing, Todd?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's exactly in the lines of what I talked about a little bit earlier about searching your members to find other members.
That was a good suggestion. Go ahead.
One of the greatest things you can do on your one-on-ones, are you meeting one-on-one? Like, so you meet, do you guys, is that part of your thing?
It is, yes, of course.
Okay, so when you meet one-on-one, make a point. Hey, Robert.
God,
so
Amy Foot sounded like one of my ex-wives. Get in here!
Deep voice.
So Todd, so one of the things I would love for you guys to do, and maybe even make this across the board, and I can send you a really good email to use. But before you do one-on-one, say, hey, feel free to look through my connections, pull up 15 or 20 names of people you'd like an introduction to, and we'll whittle them down to 3 or 4 in our one-on-one.
Oh, good idea.
Right? So that every single one of those one-on-ones isn't just about, oh my gosh, who can I introduce you to? But I've identified all the people Todd knows that I want to meet. So I want to meet VP of Sales. Todd knows 7 VP of Sales. I bring that list. Of the 7, you think 2 or 3 are right for me. And all of a sudden, there is a huge opportunity to make significantly more referrals. I have a whole email on the step-by-steps to do that. So Todd, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm actually,
I've got your name down already. I haven't sent you an email yet because, well, that's just rude not to pay attention to the conversation.
Yeah, no. Well, that's awesome. So I'm actually putting it in comments. You can just click through.
And Todd, I'm going to pivot back to groups briefly. Are you making use of the announcement feature in LinkedIn groups?
Oh no, not as much. No.
So here's the deal with announcements. Announcements used to be fairly useful. From the group management perspective, you could send pretty much anything you wanted. And of course, the caveat is that ideally it has to be relevant for that community. And then what happens if it's not relevant? People then will opt out. And once these folks opt out, there's no way on earth that you can get them to opt back in, right? They're gone. The problem now is, and this is not a nugget, this is just an observation and something that you should be aware of. The problem now is, and in fact, you used to be able to see how many of those group members got the announcement by going back in. As soon as you sent the announcement, you try to send it again. LinkedIn would say, no, but by the way, you sent it to X hundred or X thousand members. Now you don't even get that. So that was pretty useful information that LinkedIn have taken away. And furthermore, LinkedIn have now decided who gets that announcement, right, based on some kind of secret algorithm. So it's no longer the entire subset, the entire group that gets that. It's a subset according to LinkedIn's algo. So again, it's not a nugget. It's just be aware that announcement is now no longer as useful as it used to be. Unfortunately,
kind of an algorithm with a subset of Facebook in there. It's they're tending to not push it out to everybody. It's now going to be on possibilities of your contacts, how recently you've been in contact with them. I heard something it has to do with how long you've been connected with them.
That's
also
terrible. I don't like that one.
Yeah, I think they're saying the longer you're connected is actually not as good because there's a lot of contacts that people have for a very long time that don't exist anymore. They're kind of like dummy accounts. They're just not logging in anymore.
Well, and people pass away. I have so many people that come up. I'm like, oh, that's creepy.
So it's kind of taking a Facebook approach on their algorithm slowly. They're all doing it. They're all becoming this protector of the members, and basically it's hurting them in the long run.
So I have a quick question. So, and I don't know the answer to this, and I feel like I should always know the answer to everything LinkedIn.
Never ask a question that you don't know the answer to, Brent.
I'm the answer. But I feel like LinkedIn Pulse is no longer sending it to everybody as well, where if you read about when you post something at an original piece of content on LinkedIn, according to LinkedIn, every single one of your connections gets notified. I'm thinking that's not happening anymore because my husband only gets notified every other time. So
I think it's also how
Yeah.
people are posting. I have found that some people with the Pulse, it's more about a blog. It's about the article that they publish information
Right.
with the picture and stuff. And there are some people that are still publishing it as a status. And that doesn't go to
Yeah.
posts.
Oh, right. Well, I do both.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, so I think a lot of people don't think they're getting
No,
as
I'm
much value
talking
out of
about-
posts because they don't know how to work it.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Pulse.
Okay.
I am talking solely about Pulse. But I don't know, and I didn't know that about announcements either. I assumed it was going to everybody in my group.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. LinkedIn are deciding who in that group should get the announcement. They've made that decision without telling us and without letting. Well, I say without letting people know. Obviously, I know, but yeah, that's what's happening. And in regard to the Pulse notifications in relation to Pulse, they are not going to your entire network of followers. That's a fact. I wrote about it fairly recently. There's the article. There's I quote Byron Ma, MA. He's in the LinkedIn engineering department, and this is back in I think it was November of last year. They specifically state that notifications in regard to Pulse are determined by a couple of things: your connection strength, right? So apparently there's another algorithm that's determining how strong a connection you have between you and
My
your
husband likes everything,
followers.
every single thing that I do because I do it for him. So I know he likes every single thing that I do.
And you're not getting the
Still not getting
notification?
all the notifications.
Right, so there's the first issue. So it's based on strength. And secondly, they will run your post, run your publisher post through an algorithm to determine spam, if there's spam, or the quality, if it's low quality. So 3 factors then, right? Is it spam? What's the quality? And what's the strength of the connection between you and the people you're trying to reach, right? We don't know any of those. We don't have any insight into any of those. Read the article that I wrote.
Based on
And
my experience, I read that as random. Because
Right, but the problem is, Bryn, that people are saying, "Oh, well, yes, of course, my notifications, or rather my posts, my publisher posts, are not reaching an audience because everyone has piled in. We've got millions of publishers, and that's why." That's not the case. That may be a factor, but that's not. That's just you've got to look for how they're actually treating that. The notifications are important because they push your posts. They push your posts out, and then you get into Pulse if you're lucky enough. But unless you get pushed, you've got no chance.
So Todd, is it okay if I hop you off? Let's get someone else on with some questions.
I'm happy to step out. One of the things I read recently on Pulse is that you had to have the optimum number of pictures is 8. 8 pictures, 500 to 1,000 words. I don't know if it's true. I have a hard time coming up with a headline picture. But guys, it's been great. Brianne?
Even if that was the case, guess what? If you don't have the circulation, it doesn't matter. All of that good stuff. If you're doing all that, if you don't have the circulation, you're screwed. You don't have a chance.
Well, I send every time I post. It's once a week on Sundays. I send it to my email. That's my newsletter. So I get my traffic started because it's going out to my newsletter people. So Todd, it was nice to meet you. I look forward to connecting on LinkedIn.
Excellent.
Thanks for joining us, Todd.
Bryn, Andy, somebody asked a little bit earlier, Jason asked, how do you find out how many connections you have on LinkedIn?
That's an easy one. So there's 2 ways you can do that. If you've posted, if you go to see all your posts, it will give you all of your statistics. Actually, there are a few ways you can do this. You can also, one of the things I love to do is if you search your name in the search bar, don't pick it from the drop down, but hit the magnifying glass. You're going to see when you get to your name, you'll see like your 500 in green. If you click on that, you'll get a list of the number and the list of all of your connections.
There's also an area, and I totally forgot. I just blanked out.
And who's in your profile?
What?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying. I apologize.
There's also a way to export your links.
There is.
Yeah, and I forgot where it is. I'm trying to remember because that
so-
tells you how many where it is too.
Sure.
Yeah, you can download through the settings. You can download to an Excel. You can download all your connections, and you can get that
So
number
you click
there.
on connections. You click on the gear on the right-hand side.
That was
And then-
it, the gear. That's what I was looking for.
And then you'll see the advanced settings, and you'll click export connections.
Yep.
And then you want to leave it as the Microsoft Outlook CSV, and then hit export. It'll ask you to put in a code, and then it'll download it into an Excel spreadsheet. I recommend to my clients that they do this every single week.
To update your list.
Just export your list, even if you never look at it again, because we all know LinkedIn has funny sense of humor with some of these things, and you just never know.
Did they
Okay,
recently
so-
clean up LinkedIn a little bit on contacts, do you think?
Say that again.
Do you think they've recently cleaned up the content, the contacts of LinkedIn? Like if there were people that are no longer on it, like you said, passed away or accounts.
Definitely, I have not seen that at all.
The only reason I say that is because I downloaded this approximately 3 months ago. Now I'm refreshing it, I'm syncing it again, but my number's lower today.
Well, people may have disconnected. A lot of people will do that.
3,000?
How many?
3,000 lower. That's a big number.
I would request an archive from LinkedIn. I would go request an archive. You can do that in your privacy settings, and then they'll send you everything because there's something wrong with that. 3,000 doesn't make
That's why
sense.
I'm wondering if there was a.
Yeah, no, there's a glitch in the matrix for you there.
Okay.
So who can we get? Who would like to ask a LinkedIn question? We've got a nice crowd here.
Let's start welcoming them by name. I see Callum Cheval. I see Janine, Avi, Ultimate Upcyclers,
Folks
Mr.
on here
Wonderful,
that I know but have never met. I love that.
Preston, Craig, Robin. Hi, Robin. Debbie, Leah,
So
Voldrick Kingdom, Bianca, Julio,
guys,
Diana.
I'm pretty
Hey,
sure
welcome,
Cheval, you are
everyone.
one of my contacts.
Welcome.
Come on, somebody. We love to answer your question.
Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you. Thanks very much for joining
Okay,
us.
who do we have on here now? Hello, sir. What
So
is
here's the
your-
thing.
how-
Here's the thing. Bryn and I were on another blab, and she said we should do one. I said okay, and then I figured this was just going to be an off-the-record test because Bryn and I are going to be doing another one next Wednesday. No, she wants to turn it into a full
Exactly.
session, and I say what the?
Why wait, Andy?
And then, oh, Robert, yeah, you are Mr. Addict. I was on Friday night with you, buddy. All right,
So
I was
let's
on with Friday
Let's
night.
ask
Say
our
no
nice
more.
new guest. How should we refer to you? Is it Bullard?
Yeah, well, my name is Walter. That Volard
Walter.
Kingdom just means everything that I do because I'm an artist. I'm a photographer, artist. I have business opportunities and marketing tools as well that I've created on my main site, which I'll give to you here if you like.
Photographer artist since 1958, financier. Find my art at barbarianart.com.
Brent, Andy, I got to jump off. I got to
Nice.
make a quick phone call.
All right,
All right,
buddy.
Talk to you guys.
Hi, Robert.
Sorry. So my question was, you didn't know and answered it. That's my main site in the Barbarian Art. You saw that already. But my main question here was, how does a person on Mac get that list of? I have over 500 LinkedIn followers, but I don't know how to
Do
do it
you
with the
have
Mac.
spreadsheets on Mac? Do you have
I
spreadsheets?
don't know. I'm sorry. I focus on working on the art, so I really
Yeah.
don't know.
So you can save it. Hello, welcome. You can. I do it on my Mac because I have Word. You know what? I am on another Mac that doesn't have Word. I'm going to do it as we speak,
Oh, thank you.
and I'll tell you what happens.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Preston.
Don't blow anything.
Good.
No, that's fine. So Preston, you can answer your question. So it says it exported it. It's going to save it. Okay. It's going to save it on my desktop. So you're going to follow the export, And then when you open it, okay, so it's going to open in a text file, which you definitely don't want to do. So what I would do is I would...
Can you make it a PDF or something? Or to Google, like the Google Docs or something?
It will definitely open in Google Docs. So that's a great idea. So you go into Google Docs and import it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, there's a guy called Gabe in the room. Gabe is a UX guy. Gabe, join us. I want to talk about LinkedIn UX.
And Preston's on the line. Preston, do you have some questions for us?
Yeah, I do actually. If I can ask just one or two.
Yep, two. Go for it.
Okay. Number one is that, I unfortunately I didn't get to this whole thing, so maybe you guys already discussed this. But with Pulse, I've noticed that obviously you can post things in Pulse, and it's really based upon the topics that you're interested in, and that's where the feed comes from. The question I have on Pulse is that when you're writing something, and I don't write as often as I probably should, but can you take that information and also use it on your blog or your website? Because I've heard double entries do not like it when Google sees it.
So you said, I'll tell you mine, but Andy, you first.
Right. So yeah, generally speaking, the best practice is that you don't have duplicate content. That if you perhaps do that, you put exactly the same post on both LinkedIn and then Google, then the theory is that Google will somehow take umbrage at that and shove it further down, and it doesn't get up there. It doesn't get indexed as well as had you just put it out as singular content. So that's the issue. Whether or not that's actually happening, no one really knows. And the smart thing to do anyway would be to change it up, right? However slightly, so it's not exactly the same. And so that way, ideally you get the best of both worlds. What I will say about LinkedIn is that it's got a huge amount of heft when it comes to Google, that when you publish on LinkedIn first, you'll typically find that it's been indexed on Google. And the same thing goes for your name. If you do a search on your name, then invariably the first search hit that comes up is your LinkedIn profile. So that gives you an indication how much weight, how much strength LinkedIn has with search engines like Google and the others. So change it up a little bit. Don't do duplicate content. Do similar content, and you should be fine.
So I love that. I'm 100% in agreement, Andy. The one thing I would add to that is link it back to your website from LinkedIn, because now you're getting backlinks to your website from LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn, so you can put a link of your website actually on the Pulse. On
the post, yeah.
Okay. I didn't think that was allowed, so okay, good to know.
And the other thing I might do, and I don't do this, but I'm going to recommend it, it's Shoemaker Shoes, is if you do have the same content, do them a week or 2 weeks or a month apart so that it's not being indexed with the same dates.
Okay.
I would say about the links, the backlinks. There's I'm not sure about this, and I'd love for someone with with better technical understanding of this to come on. But I know there's something called a no follow link, right? And I don't know if LinkedIn falls into that category. Whether or not they basically, even if you were to put it on LinkedIn, it wouldn't do the job, or something would happen with Google. So look into that, but I don't know enough. I
think Aunt Smarty would know that one. I'll have to ask her directly.
So, and Preston, you had a second question?
Yeah, the second question is, sometimes, and I know a lot of people, when I say this, they're going to go, not a good idea. But sometimes I do put stuff that comes from Facebook into LinkedIn through that automatic if this, then that, then what, or whatever that program is.
Oh, yeah.
And I like it because it gives me the opportunity on certain things to be able to communicate with my LinkedIn just like I do with my Facebook. But the question I have is, for whatever reason, obviously recently they changed the look on LinkedIn, where the heck do I find what I just posted?
So when you go to your own profile, click on your own profile, the drop down next to the view profile as, click that little arrow, and then click view recent activity. And that will give you your last 200 plus things that you've done. And you can do that for other people as well, right? So you can go to anyone's profile and do that. So now this is, if you're in selling, I'm always social selling. So if you're in sales, what you ultimately want to do is, if you're prospecting someone, go check out what their activity is in the very beginning of that relationship, like what they're sharing and add comments. It's a great opportunity to get on their radar in a non-cold calling way.
Good point.
Hey, do you want something in?
Yeah.
Hi.
Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good, thank you, thank you. I wanted to mention about the no follow. LinkedIn, their links are no follow, because I've had 2 or 3 articles published by LinkedIn in 2012, and then in another one that were linked back to my site. They're no follow links. Just so you know.
So in other words, there's no point putting the link there, right?
Well, anything, you know what, I think that it still gives a little bit of SEO juice, but it's still a no follow. It doesn't give you the same strength as a regular do follow link.
So I have heard that in the profile,
Mm-hmm.
but I've heard publishers a little bit different. Am I wrong on that?
You know, I'm not.
So what happened? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure. I mean, I just know because I do a lot of SEO, and so, you know, I check my backlinks for my education site all the time, and I had a few articles. I wrote an article for their talent blog one time, and then I was featured in their member profile in 2012. Those were linked back to my site, and those were no follow links. But they still came up as worthy links, you know, even, you know, because their PR page rank is 100. Is the highest it can be. So it still gives you a little bit of SEO juice, but not as much as a do follow link.
So from what I understood, and because I'm not an SEO person, but the links inside of the profile are actually like a bit.ly, almost they become a redirect.
Yeah.
So that doesn't get, but the links that you manually put inside of your inside of the publications are direct. They're not
They'll be direct, but there's a difference between a do follow link and a no follow link, and that's the way that Google analyzes what basically is going to boost up your page in Google rankings. So if for example, if you have a lot of government websites pointing back to you, a lot of education websites pointing back to you, your actual website is going to have a higher page rank and a higher domain rank. And you can check what your domain rank or your page rank is if you go to Open Site Explorer, and that will give you, and you can also go to SEMrush, you can go to...
Yeah, I use SEMrush.
Yeah, SEMrush, and then MozRank. If you go to MozRank, you can find out what your...
Moz is tough.
But if you just want to find out your basic domain page authority, and then that'll kind of give you, and they also have a free trial if you want to do a free trial. And then you can find out exactly who's linking back to you, who's a do follow link, who's a no follow link, and then you'll actually be surprised, because I cannot believe how many. I was very shocked when I did that, how many universities have quoted me and are giving me lots of SEO juice back.
That's awesome. So Robin, tell everybody what you do and how, if they wanted to work with you, how would they get in touch with you?
Oh, anybody could reach out to me. You know, I'm writing for the, I just got a new job. I'm working for the Boys and Girls Club of America now. And I am going to be a Huffington Post blogger as of today.
Oh,
yeah, thanks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm doing some PR work and writing and lots of different stuff for the Boys and Girls Club. So
everybody follow Robin, not just on Blab, but follow her on Twitter, and you'll get to see all of her Huff stuff.
Thank you. But I've got so much, you know what, I've been writing on LinkedIn kind of before it became this publishing place for a long time. In 2011, I became friends with Daniel Roth, and I know a lot of, I don't know if you know inside stuff, stuff that I learned because
that's awesome.
When the publishing moved, I got a call from Ross Mayfield, and he told me what they were doing, because I was kind of only one of the people that was actually writing and sharing my work there. So I have a few connections inside LinkedIn. Some of them are really just amazing people, really helpful, and, you know, great people. So, but if anybody has any questions, always ask me. Feel free.
Preston, I'm going to pop you off. Before I do, you have any other questions, or you're good?
No, that's fine. I just, I'm in the travel industry, so if anybody wants to connect with me, I definitely would love to connect with them.
Oh, awesome.
Preston, are you in the
I'm
Barbados?
So I actually sell high definition webcams to beautiful locations around the world. So I got about 7 of them here, but looking to expand to the U.S.
Put a link in comments for us, Preston.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Who else would like to pop in and ask a LinkedIn question or a social selling question?
Or just to be social.
Yeah, or just to be social.
Thank you.
Oh
Yeah,
my
good
gosh,
job.
I get to meet Teddy. Yeah. We got some heavy hitters here today.
Oh, I gotta turn some lights on. Give me a minute. I gotta turn some lights on.
Teddy's in the dark.
As most people are when it comes to LinkedIn.
I'm gonna
I don't know if that's
I'm gonna
gonna
join
work
in.
or not. Oh, I might have to do another time.
Oh,
Oh, I am ashamed of myself. Hey, is that better? No.
you're fine. So, we are honored to have you in our group tonight, Teddy. Yeah, exactly.
Oh Lord, dude.
Great.
So I'm sitting out on the patio and I'm writing a blog post, and I saw a tweet or something come up about my very first jump into a blab, and I couldn't help but go check it out. So thanks for letting me show up.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. All right.
Perfect. That's the way it works. It's this thing where, oh, I know Andy, I know Bryn, oh, Robin, hold on, oh yes, I can't help myself. It's the most social thing yet. I can't believe how cool this is, because you know these names, you know these influencers, and suddenly you're in a room and you're talking, and
Awesome.
it's just
It is. It's great.
It is
Teddy,
awesome.
I'm going to ask you if Huffington Post called, I said Fortune before, and said, Teddy, give us your number one LinkedIn tip or strategy. What would you give them?
Number one tip, as I'm trying to get rid of a spider: be present. Just be present. It's way more to be seen, to be heard, and to engage in conversation. That's probably it. Brand, if I bring it down, it's engage.
So I love that, because one of the things that I have all my clients focus on is the number one purpose, because I teach it for salespeople. The number one purpose of this is to have conversations off of LinkedIn. This is about meeting people and converting them to real life conversations and figuring out how you might be able to help each other out. So I love engage. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they connect with people and ignore them. So I love that.
You say they ignore them?
Yeah, that's the worst thing you could do.
That's rude.
I look at this like a real life networking meeting, right? Like LinkedIn is a real. If you walked up to someone, handed them your business card, and walked away, that's the same thing as connecting with them on LinkedIn and ignoring them. It's like, here's my business card, nice, gone.
Good to see you. Bye. Yeah.
That's it. So, oh my gosh, spot on with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Couldn't agree more. Be present, and of course that works on all of the channels, right? Not just LinkedIn. But can I tell you who is very present and who is incredibly good at engaging and being responsive? Ted Rubin. If you've ever reached out to Ted Rubin, I connected with him very recently, and he connected like that, and then I sent him an email about something. Very odd. I was looking him up and just trying to, find stuff out. And my go-to reference is Wikipedia. And if you do a search on Ted Rubin today, there's no Wikipedia entry. And I thought, what? That's weird. So I emailed him and asked him why, and he got back to me within 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's really nice.
I'm with you.
That's phenomenal.
What I really love about the people I hang out with on LinkedIn and beyond, but let's talk LinkedIn for a moment, is that more often than not, all you have to do is say hi, be polite, be friendly. You can ask a question. And just like Robin just said a few moments ago, send me a message, ask me any question. I'm spot on.
Exactly. It's about giving back. You know, every single job I've had since 2011, when I left National Lewis, has been somebody reaching out to me via LinkedIn. Has not been me applying for jobs or anything like that. It's been someone saw something I wrote, something a tip I gave, or just helped them. And I mean, I had dinner with the senior VP of the Boys and Girls Club 2 weeks ago. An amazing guy.
Wow.
I would not have met him. I've met the most incredible people here in Chicago. I went to a benefit for Ernie Banks died, and I sat with him for 2 hours. And these are all because of the people I've met through LinkedIn. I mean, I feel so grateful for the platform because it's truly made a difference in my life. Huge. If you use it correctly, it's amazing the people that you can meet.
Absolutely. Hey guys, Andy, great to say hi to you and see you. Bryn, thanks for inviting me. Robin, great to say hi to you. I'm going to jump off and let somebody else jump in and play. You folks have a great evening.
See you on Wednesday, Teddy.
All right, Cheval John is in the house.
Oh, Nate. Nate Haig, Australia. Wow.
Cheval,
Oh my
so
gosh.
nice to see you in person. We're both LinkedIn and Twitter friends, I believe.
Yes, we are.
Can we help you with any questions?
I guess.
Oh, you are cutting out, my friend.
Sorry.
You know what? Do me a favor and type your question in the comments bar, and we will answer it for you.
Get Nate in the house. Get Nate in the
only
seat.
if he's dressed.
He's never dressed.
Gotta go plug in. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right. So, who else wants to get in the hot seat today? We've got some faces that I know.
Minions. I think he's with the fam. I think he's out with the family.
Awesome. So Tim McVeigh, I would love if you're interested to hop in. Who's Kingsley Grant? Hello and welcome.
Kingsley Grant.
If you want a coach, I love talking to coaches.
Oh, he's with developers. Okay, no worries.
Fun.
No worries. That's happening.
What's happening?
That's one of his catchphrases. That's happening.
Let's see. We've got some interesting folks online. Craig Burton. Hello and welcome. And Debbie, welcome. Hello. I have 2 beautiful sons. She has 2 beautiful daughters. We should know each other. You never know.
Cheval's asking, what are your thoughts on using LinkedIn Publisher? For what?
So we love LinkedIn Publisher, but yeah, you got to have a purpose. So here's my thing about LinkedIn Publisher.
I don't love LinkedIn Publisher.
Before you even start with LinkedIn Publisher, you need to know why you're doing it. And you need to know who you're talking to. Because some of the worst things you can do is start publishing stuff that either nobody cares about or you're talking to the wrong market, and you could do more damage than good pretty quickly. So I love LinkedIn Publisher. Start with a purpose. If you're in business development, is your purpose to prove that you're a thought leader in your industry? Are you trying to be the subject matter expert and the go-to person in what you do? Are you a leadership coach and you want to be the thought leader and leadership coach? So define what you want to do first, and then you can write about it. And the really important thing is, don't just write about stuff that you want to write about. Figure out what your audience cares about. And you also want to solve problems. Offer implementable things, right? So when you write on Publisher, If you can offer something that your network can implement pretty quickly, you will show value very quickly. So I know that Robin is, are you now a Huffington Poster or soon to be?
No, soon to be. Actually, you know what? I sent an email to Ariana Huffington, and I actually showed her an article that I wrote on LinkedIn that I thought would be applicable to her site, and I got a response from her today, and it was 2 days ago, and it was so exciting. And it was an article about being aware and living in the moment. I think it was called Deflating Autopilot, giving it.
Stick the link in comments so people can see it. That would be awesome.
Oh, sure. So yeah, I sent it to her, and then because I know that she's very interested in that. I know that she's very interested in awareness and living in the moment and stuff, and she emailed me right back. I mean, it was the next day, and she was really, really excited about it. So that was really exciting. I got an invitation to take part on their site. So
that's fantastic.
I think, it's another point is really, don't be afraid to reach out to people, because the worst that they're going to say is either you're not going to get a response or they're going to say no. So I think, you know what, I think that was a big thing for me, was coming out of my comfort zone, which I think I really did in 2011, 2012. It's so important because you really there's so many opportunities out there. You really just need to ask. And don't be scared.
That's awesome. Ask people. So we have a question. We have a bunch of questions. Has anyone got New Messenger from LinkedIn? So we talked about that a little bit, the New Messenger. I don't know if any of us have it, but we've talked to people that do have it, and they're not thrilled. But we'll all get used to it.
I wanted to come back on LinkedIn Publisher and what I think of Publisher. I was very excited when they opened up the doors to regular folks and essentially removed all obstacles to blogging. That was a great move, a brave move by LinkedIn. And so I admire and I appreciate that effort. I think it's great. It's essentially said, hey, listen, you can now create content. And furthermore, you do it well, you establish your credibility, you become a thought leader, and everyone, frankly, has got war stories that they can tell. And, particularly if they add value in some way. So that's wonderful. But I've been experimenting with Publisher, and I've been doing stuff which has not been LinkedIn core stuff. It's not the stuff that I normally cover on my blog, and I've been experimenting with it. And I would love to see LinkedIn take the throttle off. I would love to see an egalitarian way of treating content. In other words, the truly good stuff rises to the top, and it gets published in Pulse, because that's frankly what everyone is looking to achieve. What do I mean by just open the floodgates on one Pulse channel? In other words, this is not anything to do with editorial control. This is purely likes, shares, and views. Right? Let that algo do its job, and just don't stop at the editorial level. That's what I would like to see, because that's when I think you'll see the cool and very interesting stuff, which is frankly loved by your network. If it's loved by your network, then it deserves to be aired to the widest possible.
I find it so frustrating.
It's a meritocracy approach. That's what's needed, because I think a lot of people have lost confidence in Pulse and the way that certain articles are chosen to be published in Pulse.
It's frustrating.
That's my two cents.
Everything that comes underneath are all the ones that have 200,000 views. So they're going to obviously keep getting more views. They're not relevant to the topic. They're not, it's the same one under everybody's.
Right. And Nate Haig has asked a good question. He says, why do you think LinkedIn Publisher stats plummeted? So the reason that views, and I wrote about this recently, the reason why you get, there's the article, the reason why you get someone like Kim Cast, who has 21,000 followers, when she publishes something and only gets 21 views, that's not right. That doesn't make any sense. If she has such a large followership, how could she only muster 2-digit views? That doesn't make any sense, right? That's nothing to do with, oh, there are so many eyeballs now and so much competition. That's BS. It's all about the algorithm and who gets notified. And like I said before, it's based on the low quality test, the spam test, and the strength connection test, right? These are all tests that we don't know anything about, and we should know about it.
Are you also doing the on Twitter, if you do tip at LinkedIn Pulse, and then you share that too? You know, sometimes you need to do it a few times, and then they'll recognize it and post it into the channel. But even I don't, you know, sometimes even when I get actually most of mine have gotten on the channels, and I don't see the views that I would expect to see.
Well, the channels are broken.
What?
Right? The channels are broken.
I think something's off. I think they're probably redoing something, testing something. It's what it's like.
I see the change they made, and it's very sad. So I will say one of the things I would do is when you do LinkedIn Pulse, you at LinkedIn Pulse and then tips. Tell it the channel you want it to go to.
That's a good, yes, that's an excellent tip. I've done that before. You know, because I wrote an article about that I felt would fit into what inspires me. You know, I wrote something about the first, you know, I'm a former teacher. So I wrote something about, you know, some things about the first few weeks of school. And so I put it that, and then they did post it. So I agree. Yeah. That's a good thing because it kind of maybe just kind of wakes them up, you know.
Yeah, well, it also does their job for them, which sometimes we need to do.
Right.
But here's what happened with the channels, which is so depressing in my opinion. I mean, really sad, is that LinkedIn channels used to really be a channel. Like you used to be able to click through. There was a header. You know, it had a news feed, but you could see 6 or 8 or 10 articles at the top.
Right.
Now it's just a feed.
Right, and they're hard to find. I mean, it was a beautiful header. I don't know if you remember LinkedIn Today. LinkedIn Today had a really nice header. It was kind of
amazing.
It was beautiful, and I was like I was so excited. I had a lot of stuff published on LinkedIn Today, and that was my first real publishing, beside a few education websites. But I remember they had the header, and then it showed recently posted, and it was really, really, really nice. Maybe they'll go back to that. I hope they do, because it took away that beauty of a magazine look, in my opinion, as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that people are visiting the channels any longer.
Right.
Because it's not a channel, it's another news feed.
It looks like
so it doesn't bring the value that it used to bring. It used to be like you could find, you know, here are 10 topics, pick the one you like. It had a yeah, it's sad. And I'm not sure. I mean, I really don't understand, and I definitely don't want to bite the hand that feeds me. You know, I built my house on their property, so I have to live with what I get, right? That's the way it is.
I'm hugely grateful to them. And the other thing is, you know, when I'm seeing so many negative and backlashing type of articles, why are people doing that? I'm sorry, I don't mean to digress.
Right. Well, you know, it's very frustrating, and if this weren't my whole business, I could see myself being one of them.
Right.
But it's very frustrating. So one of the things that changed, I mean, I was 100% pro LinkedIn, no matter what. And then they changed the company pages. Well, one of the things that I did as a company is I wanted to build my company name, not just Bryn Tillman. So I had over 150 recommendations on my company page.
Wow.
And they went away.
Oh.
So, right. So, because they made a change. So you're frustrated from that. That's frustrating. I worked really hours and hours of asking and editing and helping and all, you know, getting that done, and it's gone. So that was nauseating.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of a million people that went through that. But it was a wonderful lesson. And really, at the end of this, the lesson is you have to realize that this is LinkedIn's profile. We don't own it. And we are blessed with the right to use it. Well, I mean, I pay an exorbitant amount of money because I have Sales Navigator every month. But my whole entire world has changed. LinkedIn still has the only professional database in the entire world that can be searched and filtered the way that it can.
Right.
Business is absolutely done. Every minute, every second on LinkedIn, people are growing their business. There was a question from Nathan earlier he had said Twitter or LinkedIn to start the conversation. I use both. So Twitter is a great way to start the conversation and bring them to LinkedIn. But what LinkedIn has that nothing else has, bar none, is the ability to search and filter your connections so that you can identify who you know that knows who you're trying to get in front of and position yourself to get warm introductions.
Right.
There is not another tool in the world that can do that, and there is no other. The best way to get any business is through a warm referral, and we all know that. And so,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, and LinkedIn is the only tool that allows us to. I'm in my little monologue. I'll pass it on. So yeah, go ahead, Robin.
I just wanted to share this other tip I learned in a LinkedIn for Journalists webinar I just had. So if you go to the search bar and you can actually save a search. So let's say if you're not, I don't know if you are a writer or you're doing a story or covering anything, but even if you're not, if you're watching for something to pop out, if you're looking for a new job, if you go into the search bar and you put in quotes, like let's say, Iraq, and you write the word and, A-N-D,
Capitalized, yeah.
and then the name of a person, and then you save that search, you will have that search saved, and then you will get you'll be able to be notified as to when somebody, that person may have spoken about that topic. And that's like when a journalist will want to reach out to that person. So that's something that you can use for other things other than writing. You can use it for your business, maybe somebody.
Yeah, that's one of the main things I think Andy and I both teach. Yeah, and the and or is not, all those Boolean searches have to be all caps.
Yeah, it's a great tool. That piece I did not know about, being able to save your searches and then being notified when someone makes a comment about it, that that person's name makes a comment about it, and then you can reach out to them at that time, and it's the perfect time. You can say, I noticed you said something about this at this time, where you may have missed it prior.
Yeah, Sales Navigator it's one of the premium accounts. You can create an entire list of leads and accounts that will be notified when there's some movement or any kind of activity. So it's really very cool.
It's interesting how everybody uses it different. Everybody says, I don't have any experience with Sales Navigator. I only know it from a writer's perspective. So it's really interesting, all the different tips we can bring that are actually helpful to each other in our skills.
If you were asked, Robin, because I don't think I asked you this, if you were to give one tip about LinkedIn Publisher, what would it be?
Be authentic, always. Always be authentic. Write about what you know about, what comes from your heart, your soul, your passion, because you can't fake authenticity. And authenticity is what has literally, every opportunity I've had is because of just me being who I am and trying to share things I know that make, parents' lives easier when they're with their kids, with going to school. I wrote an article about digital, being, digitally aware for your kids. It's really scary things that are going on right now. So write about what and you never know who's going to see it and who you're helping. And be authentic, be you.
That's awesome.
That's the biggest thing you could say.
Let's get someone else in the hot seat. We have an open seat. And if you guys could go, thank you, Cheval, but if you guys could tell a little bird, if you guys can tweet that and your friends will know. Has anyone shared this blab with the big blue button? Everybody go share a big blue button. Tell a little bird. That would be awesome. Question, do posts with video do better than non-video posts? That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think so.
I don't know either. I told him via chat. No idea.
We'll find out. I'll reach out and find out. LinkedIn is very secretive, but actually that's really a Google question, not a LinkedIn question, right? So that's really, I don't know how Google is indexing LinkedIn right now. I know, and we'll look into that. I would like to know. I used to know, used to be skills and expertise had a very heavy weighting in SEO in your LinkedIn profile, and now I heard it has none. So yeah. I don't know. And I don't even know who to really listen to. If it's not on the LinkedIn blog, who knows, really? So,
yeah.
Who wants to hop in and ask another LinkedIn question? Question, do readers of posts get added to LinkedIn custom audience? So you have to follow someone or connect with them to be added to their customized audience. If you don't follow them, you may never see their stuff again if you read it. Even if you like it or comment, the only way you're added to their audience is if you actually follow them or connect with them. You know, one of the questions I'd love to ask LinkedIn, we've acknowledged that not everyone is getting, that not all your connections are getting notified when you publish something new. I'm curious if all of your followers, the people that specifically requested to follow you for your content, if all of them are getting notified, right? Because that's their only relationship with you, is I want more of their content. That's why I follow them. So that's a good question.
I'm not getting that many notifications like I used to in the morning, like every day. I used to get a ton of notifications. People that I would follow or would be connected to me that would say, this person published. I'm not getting hardly any. I don't know about you guys, but mine has.
Well, one of my favorite publishers is Bridget Hyacinth. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I do. I am. Yeah.
Amazing. I don't get hers at all. I have to go look for it when I remember. I'm not getting hers at all. And she's an amazing blogger.
Yeah, she is. She is.
So anybody else want to hop in and ask some questions? Got a few people on. I don't know, Andy, what do you think? Are we calling it?
Just typing.
We've been on a long time.
Yeah. And this was supposed to be a test.
This was a test.
This was so fun. This is my first one.
Oh my gosh, we're so honored.
I had a question for Robin. That post that you sent to Ariana.
It was a link I sent to her. It was a very short paragraph. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, what was it that made you think that this might be of interest to HuffPo?
You know what? I was on Quora the other night, and I wasn't even looking for it. I stumbled upon people were talking about how do you become a writer for the Post or a blogger for the Post, and I saw that someone said that she was very interested in articles about awareness, and I thought, I got a lot of people really liked that article. It was really simple. It was a story about me getting a salad, and it was just about being aware in the moment. And I was in a drive-thru, and it was crazy, and the thing was broken, and I gave the lady a compliment who was serving everyone. She was so flustered. And it completely changed the entire aura of that situation. And the manager stuck out her head. And so I remember I was thinking about that article, and they said Ariana Huffington was very interested in articles about awareness and living in the moment and being in the moment. I thought, I'm going to send her this link. Maybe she'll be interested, because this was such a simple everyday situation of something that we go through every day. But you go through drive-thru and you get a salad, and you don't think about it. You get your salad, but this lady had really nice nails, and I gave her a compliment, and it lit up the entire place. And they were like, "Your meal's free." It was this whole to-do, and everyone calmed down, and it was. So I just figured I'm just gonna send this to her, and I was sick this week, so it wasn't even online at all, and I wrote her a short paragraph, and I just said, I thought if your readers would be interested in this, I know you're focusing on this. So I found out from Quora that was a topic she was interested in. I said, if you're interested in, please feel free to share. If not, so be it. And she sent me a link to join the community, to be a writer on there, which was huge. It was huge. It was such a, I wasn't even feeling well, and I was so tired, and I was sick, and I thought, you know what, I really like this article, and I think her readers would appreciate it, so I'm going to share it with her. And that was
How did you get her email?
You can find it anywhere online. And so when I saw that she was interested in that topic, I thought, why not? I I think that's something that we really need to do, is become more aware of our moments in life and being around people that we're around every day and being more complimentary and kinder. And so I thought, you know what, when I had my blog posted in 2012, I don't know if you know, I had my blog, it wasn't a blog, it was my story about moving from having to leave academia and move into this whole new area. And I made this deck, and Jeff Weiner was, you know, he was just on there that day, and he was talking with something about creativity and connection. And I was so nervous. I'm like, I'm just going to share this deck with him. And it was about how LinkedIn changed my life. I put it up there. I swear to God, they called me in 5 minutes. I became really good friends with Yumi Wilson. She's amazing if you're not connected with her.
Amazing. I love Yumi.
Wonderful, wonderful. She's literally, I think she's my mentor. Love her. Love her. And that's so cute. I got all this stuff from them. So, but the thing that was so exciting was I was so scared to do it, to share my deck with him. And I thought, okay, what's he going to do? He's either going to ignore it. But this is when I was really first starting to kind of come out of my shell. And I put it up there on his feed. And and then Yumi called me, and she had just started working there. And so that's how my LinkedIn life started, pretty much. And then from that point on, then they put me in their 200 million member story, which was really exciting. You know, those are exciting things, you know, but they passed. They were 5 minutes of excitement. But for me personally, I'm getting off topic here. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't be scared, because I think people are scared to do things and say things, and you can't be scared, or you're gonna stay in this inner circle of your own being, and you gotta reach out. You gotta
totally agree.
Oh, awesome.
I also think I think we're too quick to criticize, aren't we? Particularly if we're out in a restaurant or in a food line, and we huff and puff and we say, oh, that's not good enough, or that's not fast enough, or I want more, or we criticize very easily. But we don't do the opposite. We don't recognize good service. We don't say, hey, thanks very much. I see what you did there. You gave me an extra portion. I appreciate it. And we don't go to the person in the hotel and say, hey, who's your manager? And they ask why. Well, because I want to compliment the service I just got from you. And furthermore, I want to tell, someone who's a decision maker in the organization, and the surprise on their face. I do it regularly. If someone, gives me, does a good job, I appreciate it. And I say, hey, I'm gonna tell someone,
Let's bring that back to social. Tweet it out.
It's so
Tell people what great service you're getting.
It is. You know what? It's so important. I've been working since I was 11 years old, and I waited tables. I did probably everything. I worked in the mall. I'm just trying to be very, very socially aware of everyone around me, because I feel like I've lived a lot of lives and I've worked a lot of jobs. And
people appreciate being appreciated, for sure. We have an open seat. We have a couple new people in the room. We have Saul. Hello, Saul. If you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. We have, I don't have anything for this fella, blab@websiteyes.com. We have Jocelyn. So if you guys, anyone want to pop in? Dang it, blocked by my firewall again. Too bad. Would love to have had you. Certainly.
Jocelyn.
Yep. Anyone of you want to jump in and ask us social media? I mean, we've been on for a long time. Is there like a time counter on this thing? I don't even know. Hours, I feel like now.
So do these get
these are recorded
and they're published, so people can refer back to them. That's great.
No, they're not. They're not recorded. Not unless Bryn's presses the record button.
Oh, I did. We're on the record, right?
Yeah, it says on the record.
Yep. Stay off the record if we weren't recording. Yeah. I didn't start recording from the beginning, but once I realized we actually had a real blab going.
Maybe I should have just said, hey, listen, don't record it, because I just want to test this for Wednesday.
Yeah, but then I started recording it.
I know.
So once you record it, do you have the choice to keep it posted, or do you have the choice to take it down?
Recorded, it's public.
It's published. That's good.
Yeah. So, well, let's talk about really quick about Wednesday. I won't be on Wednesday because I am at Univest training all day, so I won't be there. But if you want to, I tried to put it in my calendar for Wednesdays going forward, so I don't. I'll schedule around it, but I'm totally booked. But tell everybody about LinkedIn Chat. LinkedIn, is it LinkedIn Blab now?
Yeah, Nate has a question. He's saying, are we moving to Blab first format for LinkedIn Chat?
I think. Wish.
Yeah, I think the LinkedIn Chat is Tuesday, and the Blab version of the Google plus LinkedIn experts community is going to try and do more on Blab every Wednesday at a set time. So I think that's what we're going to stick with for right now. And hats off to Vivica von Rosen for starting the Google Plus group. That's great. I think a lot of folks in the LinkedIn coaching space are, some of them are thinking, well, why do I want to be in with my competitors? But I think the enlightened folks amongst us realize that, there's a huge market out there, and that we should have this a collaborative approach where we both, frankly, improve our game and we learn from each other. And without that group having formed, I wouldn't have met the wonderful Bryn, and a ton of other people that I gotten to know and love in that community. It's my go-to place for finding out A, what's changed, and B, opinions on stuff within the LinkedIn ecosystem. I love it, love it.
I do too. It's the most valuable group I'm part of, is the LinkedIn experts group on Google Plus. So I think this was a lot of fun. I think we call it a night.
Thank you.
I think so. Robin, it was a delight to see you, Robin.
You too. I didn't know you had such a beautiful accent.
I did the same thing. I knew Andy for over a year, and I get on, I'm like, you're from Chicago.
Are you in Chicago, Andy?
Yeah, we're neighbors.
Where are you in Chicago? Are you in the suburbs?
No, I'm in Lincoln Park. Where are you?
I'm in the suburbs. I won't announce it. I'm in the northern suburbs.
Got it.
Guys, so much fun. I'll talk to you all. Hopefully we'll blab again.
Thank you. Have a great, safe week.